Okay, the music should be kicking in. And there it is. And here we are. It says starting. We appear to be live. Wow. What a journey this has been. This hour. Well, no, 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Let's not go crazy. It's been 45 minutes that we've taken to get to this point. Okay, we're actually all here. It's so lovely. We're all here. I'm muting myself on the stream and popping the chat out. And I think we're going to kick things off. So, because it's been so long, I would like to hear from you guys what we've been up to.
The name of our captain after a horrifying crowd dispersal experiment.
Horrifying.
Experience.
I mean, what? So we're in the present, by the way. This is the current day. What is the, Ooh, your Nooblets. Hey! What's up? Nooblets is a regular in the Monday through Saturday stream. No, other one's better. So, Nooblets, hey, and can you tell us a little bit more about that? So, what have we been doing? You have, you're in the present. Some of you were kind of napalming some rich people. Others were just getting blankets to put out the fire. What do you guys know? What do you guys say about that?
Wasn't me. It was Captain Merrick.
He supplied the glitter.
I made a sandwich.
Yeah, you did. You made a grilled cheese sandwich. That was your whole plot arc.
Oh yeah, that was the session where we were piloting Zuri.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from what I remember, you guys were talking to the Inquisitor about the book, and determined that I don't know exactly what is what is common knowledge, what is like not common knowledge at this point about the book.
Things that you've
but
deduced, you can go ahead and say.
That we've deduced that it was that it's written in Low Gothic, but it's still kind of nonsensical, and so we're not really sure what it says in that way. Is that right?
Yeah, we can't really read it. Like, there's like a couple, maybe like symbols that we know what they are, but we can't actually read the book. And Roland's character, whose name is
Petal.
Petal kind of sussed out that we're not supposed to be able to read the book. Like, that's when the Inquisitor asked if we could read it. The answer he was looking for was no.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I remember I
And
could
to be fair,
understand
we can't.
symbols.
Well, and yeah, and you can't understand enough of it that it makes much sense, but it's something that the odd letter and word stick out. But when Petal rolled, I believe it was a
Exclusive Nat 1.
Yeah, it was a nat 1, but it was for your charisma check. It was it was intelligence? Intelligence? Is that what it was? Okay, so intelligence, I mean, really, it's going to come down to the same thing in this scenario where you're reading between the lines and you're like, he wants us to say we don't know anything about this. Okay. We don't know anything about this. And that's what was communicated, and it was believed. So you were asked by the Inquisitor to go check something out, and you were singled out because you were the newest member of this Office of the Arbites.
And haven't been corrupted yet by fiendish outdoings unbeknownst to us in some capacity.
Yeah, stuff happening. And
We're
the
not
Inquisitor...
weird, like the rest of the population.
Yeah, there's something weird here. And he's like, I came here for something else, and this is just weird. And I do believe I communicated that to you, right? That he was actually here because of some other reason, and he's like, there's a lot of weirdness happening here. He was just trying to find out what was going on, I believe I said. He was trying to find out what happened with the Hive, basically as his thesis statement to get his official Inquisitor's license, effectively. And he was doing that, and he was like, but it turns out y'all a bunch of goofy bastards. And so he's started to pick. And he's like, okay, we need some new people who maybe haven't been exposed to whatever's going on here. Let's see what we can find out.
Indoctrinated.
We'll have to see. So, what has happened is he has selected you specifically, and when we left things off, he was in Captain Merrick's desk, and he had just kicked Merrick out, and D-Beck had ordered a sandwich from Merrick's secretary, and he was sitting in Merrick's desk, and there is another piece that we haven't talked about, two pieces actually, one of them very important. Can we talk about where Sarah, D-Beck, and Pilar were a couple weeks ago? What happened?
We were down on floor 3, and we were searching for. I don't know. We we were there for the what's it called?
The dive team shenaniganry.
No, not even that. Well, yes. After we were there for the dive team shenaniganry, after we were originally sent there for people being turned into servitors, and and then we found a lady who was malfunctioning, and then a servo skull came down looking for a book, and it was the book that she was reading, and that was the book that we found, and then we ran off finding the servitor skull, and we ran into a person whose name I don't remember.
It was Moira.
But Moira, who went to, or who looked at the book, made a copy, and then told us that she was never there, and we never saw her, and we never saw that there was another copy made, and then sent us on our way.
And you guys didn't arrest her or anything like that?
Ask for it.
It's like awesome.
That's
What was that?
And nobody arrested her?
For it.
She said that somebody would
Nobody
ask for it.
arrested
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and we did not arrest her. No, we did not.
You know, hindsight forgot that we were police officers and should probably
True.
have arrested her.
Yep.
True. I'm very used to not
What?
being a police officer. So.
Being heretical and weird and making plans against
Whatever
her
you want.
superiors?
You're super cops. You can just go arrest people. You could literally do that. You can just go right now and arrest somebody and then rob their store. You can do that. No, I don't think you should. I'm just saying that this is what you
forgot
do.
that we were super cops. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I was like, no, this sounds legit. Well, Lana, I think originally she was like, okay, and like was treating it kind of like an undercover investigation type of thing. And so like gathering evidence so then she could then later potentially make an arrest, I think is what she was doing. But I kind of got caught up in the whole like book shenaniganry
Mystery,
and forgot that I was a cop.
Okay.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Crystal is definitely more of a. She is more of an observer by nature, rather than like a stand-in and like let me prevent this from happening. Like she's more of a like.
Not
let's
very
just see
proactive.
how this goes.
Gotcha. Okay, well, and that's perfectly fine.
D-Bag was eating a delicious sandwich.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh,
This
good.
heavenly grilled cheese sandwich.
Because like I
Stolen
am not
Moira's
paid enough
lunch.
to care about
You
what is
did.
happening here. Got a sandwich. So
Hell
now
yeah.
Alana has a book, and she knows that it's like an older, shittier copy of the fancy one that the Inquisitor has, and she is now absolutely confused as to what she's supposed to do with this book, because she should turn it in, but also they might need it later for evidential reasons. And now she doesn't know what to do, and she is confused and kind of mad about it.
Well, so you have a book. You see that the Inquisitor has a book. He asked if you could read it. You said no. And he is basically asking you to go be his errand people. And you haven't really heard exactly what his proposition is yet, but D-Beck's sandwich is arriving. You are all sitting in Captain Merrick's office. Some of you sitting, some of you standing. I don't want to force any of you into a position. Well, I think that's probably where we're going to put that. I'm going to move you guys over to a tighter screen here. And we're going to go to this one. I'm going to grab my dice. I'll let them over here. Go ahead and roll perception.
Perception?
Yep. Let's see what you see and I see.
Not a whole lot.
Petal is busy waiting for his grilled cheese sandwich. It is kind of just staring because I got an 88.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got an 80.
Very good.
I got a 9.
A 9. Okay. And
23.
so a 9 is extremely good. And what was yours, D-Beck?
23.
Sarah, what'd you get?
100.
You're kidding.
Wow.
Oh.
I am not. The second thing I rolled was nice, but means nothing.
Did you roll the second thing as a sort of like, hey, that can't be right?
Yeah, and it's like, no, 20. I bought new dice, and they're nice and heavy, and they have like a really nice roll to them. And I've been rolling them this entire time, and then they rolled a 100 for me the first time I ever had to actually roll anything important. So,
They're cursed.
yes.
They're getting
Only
the bad
for
rolls
Dark
out
Heresy.
now.
Couldn't do that the first like 50 times I rolled them.
Well, a 100 is a 100. So, Alana sees the writing on the wall, so to speak. Not literally, but she sees, oh boy, this Inquisitor, I know exactly what he's here for. He wants us to probably tend to him like a servant would. And you begin to start cleaning up some of he had a bag with him, and you start to go for the bag. And you start to put in some of the papers that are on their way out of it, because he set it down, and there are scrolls and things that are kind of teetering out. You start to kind of shuffle and mess around with the Inquisitor's bag. And I would like you to
Alana
roll...
She wants a tidy room, man. She's a tidy person.
Right. Go ahead and roll fellowship for me.
Oh, thank Christ, it's a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Explain, please, what it is you think you're doing with my affairs.
Apologies, sir. I saw that some of these papers were beginning to fall out, and I didn't want you to lose any of them when you took your bag with you. I stopped touching the papers.
Listen, I need you, all of you, glancing around the room, to act as my eyes and ears. You do not move on my behalf, and I need you to move unimpeded. That means none of this skittish behavior, fussing with my scrolls in my bag. Stop it. He kind of
Ilana stands super
gestures at
straight
you.
at attention.
I need you to be observant. Need you to be persuasive. I need you to move unimpeded. But you can't move on my behalf. I'm not an Inquisitor, not yet. No one will tell me no, but they can tell you no. This is going to be very beneficial for all of us. If we were able to find whatever's at the source of this. I came here to investigate the bizarre goings-on of your hive. Turns out there must be more to the story than simply a mechanical malfunction. And you're going to find out what it is. My understanding, after speaking with the Mechanicum, gesturing at Roland, is that there isn't an understanding greater than surface level of the bare minimum functioning of this hive. There is an elaborate piping system that goes beneath the hive, dating back to the time when it was constructed, with its original purpose in mind for ore refinery and organic material extraction. It seems as though the elaborate kelp system on this planet, over thousands, millions of years, has created a very, very rich carbon-based depository under the surface of this planet. It was this that our ancestors sought out, eliminated the xenos on this planet for, and began to extract fervently. They were successful, to all understanding. When they had completed their task, they left the city as other matters were needed attending. We are the descendants of the people of that time. You, specifically, the original miners, drillers, mechanics, pilots who set up this colony. I ask that you avoid contact and ignore instruction, at great risk, perhaps, of any of your fellow Arbites, Captain Merrick, your sergeant. I haven't had a chance to meet the sergeant. I trust he's busy elsewhere. You are to descend into the sublevels. It is my understanding that there are several routes, perhaps. Do you know of the sublevels of this hive?
Yeah.
I don't think you would.
We've never been down there.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Nobody goes down there, as far as we
as
know.
Rounder.
As a bit of a meta moment here, it was actually relayed by the woman who had the ailment on floor 3.
Right. She was talking about the tubes, and those might be an option to go underground.
Do you remember what about the
Oh,
tubes? It's
right.
been a few weeks, so I can...
No, I remember now because she was talking about how the first several groups haven't come back, but this might be an actual way to go down, but she wasn't sure.
She had sent people down through the lift,
They hadn't come back
and
yet.
they hadn't come back. However, she had an idea that she shared with the Debeck Pilar Serra group that there were 3 main tubes, series of pipes, that went up and down through the hive system. Hot water, cold water, and an empty. And this empty is what she was going to suggest that you descend through.
Actually, yes. Can Alana remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so Alana snaps her fingers and she's like, oh, right, there are 3 tubes, hot, cold, and there's an empty one. A woman that we spoke to who was sending down dive teams was sure that we could use those tubes to get down to floor 4. No one's come back from the most recent excursions.
There were individuals sent into the tubes already? I was going to send you down
Were
the
they sent
lifts.
into the tubes, or were they gonna?
She hadn't sent anyone down the tubes yet. The original dive teams that were sent down via the lifts have not responded. All of their workings have been cut off and we don't know what's happened to them. She did find these tubes, though, and thinks, theoretically, since this one should be empty, that we should be able to get in that way.
Where are these tubes? And it's at this point the assistant of Captain Merrick comes in with the Beck's grilled cheese sandwich.
I offer it to the Inquisitor.
No. He just waves it off. You.
Did we get a map from that woman?
Nope. You have a map of the piping system of this hive city. Bring it here. The assistant scurries off. Well, it seems we have our heading. I'm glad we didn't go down the tubes, or go down the lift then.
Lift.
So, we can assume then that the lift is not an option. We'll try our luck with the tubes. The system of pipes that we have is the same system that we saw last time when we were in the past. That's not going to be a surprise to you. It's the exact same hive city. We're talking about the exact same infrastructure. These tubes are very, very similar. They were being investigated by your past selves, or at least your characters in the past, and it's not a different, brand new scenario. So a very similar map. Here on floor the 3rd, when we were standing next to the Great Lift, where a lot of these tubes intersect and descend down into the hive along the inside of the shaft, you gather with the Inquisitor right here. And a lot of you, your entire retinue, fitting very easily inside this pixel, are preparing. Is there anything before this moment that you need to perhaps search for in an armory setting? Are you looking for any particular gear? Do you have any questions to make of your Arbide team? Is there perhaps a local florist that you'd rather stop by?
If it's still flooded as shit down there, I need a rebreather.
Well, do we know for sure that it's still flooded?
No.
Nobody's come back.
Fair enough.
It is a dive expedition.
That's true.
I'd like to pick up some more useful equipment. Maybe like a first aid kit of some kind in case we run into any of the dive teams.
That's a good idea.
I was about to say, in a similar vein to that, since I have Medicaid, is there any like in-universe thing that I could use to bump those tests up?
Absolutely.
Because my
there are
intelligence. Okay.
There are, but they are going to provide an overall stat boost. And so what I want to do is offer you something made up. This is going to be a stim that is going to provide a kind of hour-long, and that's going to be hour asterisk long boost to certain Medicaid skills. Because this is one of the things that really, really gets out of control quickly, is healing in the 40k universe, especially as a tech priest or as a psyker. Usually, you cross a threshold where there's no reason to roll anymore. We're going to try and avoid that. To do that, you're going to effectively be able to have access to a stim or two that will increase your alacrity, increase your dexterity, and your critical thinking skills with special interest to the medical field. These are stims that anybody can take that will give a +5 or +10 if you take 2 to your medical abilities. The trouble is you're not going to have a lot, and if you take more than 2, you could get a +15, or you could send yourself into shock. So, these are going to be med stims. They're made up. You will have a chance to roll for them, and they're going to be from the equipment of the Inquisitor that you're in the presence of. By the way, I don't know how much we've communicated about this, but the Inquisitor hasn't even thought to introduce himself too much to you. He's not quite an Inquisitor yet.
Gonna be my next step of Petal just in the middle of everyone talking, just being like, "Oh, by the way, I'm Petal," just raising his hand.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you are arriving here at the lift, and the reason, by the way, that we're at the lift and not in the armory of the Arbites, not in the, on board the to-be Inquisitor ship, is because he's brought crates down. The local servitor crews are unloading 6 or 7 very, very, very large crates. They're not the size of a freight shipment, but these are probably about 5 by 5 meters. They're pretty good size. You're looking at, they're very, very large shipments, and they're just these big ass crates. You see that the Inquisitor moves over to one and punching in something to an interface. You see one of the doors kind of pop open, and he says, "Okay, I can't stress enough. We need to succeed. So I brought some of my own personal stores for you to have access to. I hadn't realized it would be so dire, and frankly, I had hoped I wouldn't have to talk to any of you people. But I can prepare them, all the same. These aren't requisition. These are mine. So, don't break them. You don't have enough money to replace them." And you're able to open these stores, and they're kind of personal armories. You'll see that on most of the equipment, there is a branding of Celt on a crest. Looks very, very, very old world. This is something from Terra. The quality of these items is going to be extraordinary. There isn't anything, even in this bougie-ass first floor of a super wealthy hive city that you've seen, that measures to the quality of these items. They will not malfunction. They will not jam. They will do 2 more damage than their standard counterparts. But there aren't a lot you have access to. What is it, 1 item each, that each of you would like from this storehouse?
My eyes just get big as I look over and see the long lass.
Long lass? Okay. You need to roll for me.
Right.
Go ahead and give me a roll. This is a 100 roll.
47.
47. You see a long lass, but there is no scope. It's extraordinary quality. There's a long las rifle there. And it's yours. Again, as you pick it up, there's an extra weight to it. You notice that this is actually heavier than a normal long las, or those that you've seen the specs for. And engraved in the side with the same crest, Celt. Sarah, Nigel?
So these are weapons?
Potentially. These are gloves, if you want. Let's talk about what you're looking for.
Does Alana already have?
Are you looking for exotic weaponry? Are you looking for combat armor? Are you looking for ammunition of a very, very rare variety you couldn't get elsewhere? Are you looking for these homebrewed med stims? This is where you'll find them if they are to exist. Are you looking for a grapple extension that normally only exists as a tech priest arm? There could be one here handheld.
Oh, that would be super useful. Like a hook shot?
Pretty much.
Alright, I'm looking for a hook shot. I got a 55.
Give me a roll. 55? You find one. You have a maximum range of 10 meters. pretty good.
Yeah, that could be useful.
And it can pull you and effectively one other person. That 10 meters. It can support 2 of you.
All right. Hook shot. Hero time.
Okay.
Hero time.
Nigel, Pilar, rolling.
I would like a wizard staff worthy of my wizard hat.
A wizard staff worthy of a wizard hat. Go ahead and give me a roll.
A 28.
Okay. We'll get back to you. Roland, Pilar, go ahead.
I don't know. I am
Your
looking.
name is literally Pistol.
I mean, yeah, like okay, so I guess like something that is something that's oh gosh. Cuz it like I've already got some stuff. Let's see here. I guess exotic weapons. All right.
Kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, for
That's why I didn't
sure.
tell you about it. I didn't want you guys to prepare.
I guess I would like. Oh, interesting. No.
Grenade launcher.
Well,
Yeah,
So
I
just to
mean,
make sure I understand.
yeah, let's definitely do that when we're in a tube that
I'm just
potentially
like-
has nowhere to like remove ourselves from the direction of the blast.
And where you were, where there was
So-
coal mining and like oil
Yeah.
extraction. I just
Right. Okay, let's take a look at this. Ooh. No. Sorry. I have a cat that's trying to climb into the book while I'm trying to read it. Super fun.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, yes. So a pistol is what I'm looking for. I am looking for something. I guess I'm gonna look for a lace pistol. Let me double check, make sure I got that skill set bumped up.
You're looking for a las pistol?
Yeah, I think so. Something that, yeah, reliable, and not gonna be that will be effective in close quarters, and like I can really pinpoint the target with. So, I think that's probably it.
Okay, go ahead and roll for me.
All right, here we go. That is a 15.
Ooh.
Okay. You find a needle pistol with 25 rounds. And
Great.
you also find that it's been modified to negate your otherwise negatives that you may encounter when using it. So you will not experience if using it. If you can't hand it to somebody else. But if you're using it, you will not experience any kind of a setback. You won't be penalized for not having trained in exotic weapons. You'll
Okay.
notice that despite the modifications made to this, you don't see Celt branded on this one.
Okay.
There we go. And do you have the stats on the needle pistol? It's in the armory.
I am looking.
Okay.
Yes, I've just opened it up.
Alrighty. And Roland, did you say that you were looking for something medical related? We could do a basic like med satchel with like.
I think if everybody else is getting weapons, Petal's like a close range fighter with Fury and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's looking for something like protective armor, some sort of armor, some sort of support thing. But like the big thing is he's just like, I think, thinking of his coat and staring at the Inquisitor's sort of shifting cloak, and he's like, yeah, dig it for armor.
Okay.
Something to wear.
Well, and that's perfectly fine. What we're gonna do, there are. Go ahead and roll for me.
Oh, 003! I saw the 00 and got excited. It's a 3.
It's a 3. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's obviously very good. Hang on. I'm grabbing the. I'm grabbing the armory here because I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. I know exactly what you're going to get. I just don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't want you to grab the wrong gear. A 3 is extremely good. And it is, come on now. And okay, so this is going to be a full body, so it's not just a flak vest. You're going to have. That's not the one. I'm really glad I didn't say that one. This is going to be, and with the 3, you'll notice actually in the pocket of this, you had a. There's actually a bottle of sacred machine oil.
Ooh.
The last user just kind of left it. You know, like what happens. People just leaving sacred machine oil in pockets.
Someone didn't do their laundry.
Mm-hmm. So this is a, this is going to be effectively the flak jacket, if you're looking at the armory. So it's going to give you the full 3 AP bonus to the rest of your body. It's just everywhere. And that's that. Yeah, full 3 more armor everywhere. Head to toe. Yep.
Whoop whoop.
Okay.
How much ammo did I find with my long
For a
last?
las rifle, you don't actually need to worry about the ammo consumption on that one. That's something that for a long las, you're not going to need to worry too much about actual consumption. It's effectively using las, because las just stands for laser, right? So it's just effectively a sniper rifle using the standard laser ammo. And we got an 8 for Lindoa's character. Lindoa is going to be a little more different because does anybody want to speak for Lindoa in this case?
No, I don't know what he'd want.
Yeah,
Well,
neither do I.
This is Fidus, and he's very, very crafty. And we know that he's got
True.
He's got a lot
Maybe
of
like goggles of some kind.
I was thinking infrared would be a really good one because he rolled better than
Yeah.
anybody else, except for Roland. Actually, he got a 3, which is incredible. Oh, and you do have Celt emblazoned into the with the same crest on the inside of the jacket. Roland, just so you know.
This is nice.
And for Fidus, I think that he would probably want. I'm trying to think of the best tool for him because I know he's very crafty, and I don't want to waste a very, very good roll and like a once in a lifetime opportunity for a gear set like this. Let's go with. We're gonna go with some basically some infrared goggles. These are gonna be extremely. Let me actually source the book here. I want to make sure that he's getting what he needs. Your staff, though, Nigel, what kind of a thing is Baxter going to be looking for in his staff? Is there something in particular that he's Is he looking for something bejeweled? I mean, it's to match your aluminum hat, so I don't want to, you know.
That's wizard hat, not aluminum.
Pardon. pardon me. Yes, of course.
Yes, sparkly. Maybe it shoots glitter.
Boy.
Oh, no.
What was your roll again? Forgive me.
28.
It was a 28? Okay. Well, okay. So, you're probably going to be looking at... You said a staff? What's the kind of size of the staff you're looking for here?
I don't know, maybe like a 6-foot staff? Like Gandalf.
Gandalf style staff. Okay. Well, what you see here is what is effectively a nearly functionless utility mechadendrite that would normally be grafted to the steel frame of a tech priest. It's effectively a long robotic grabber arm, and it still has very basic functional controls at one end of it, so that you can basically use it as like some kind of an interface at one end, but you kind of have to be 6 feet away to like maneuver it if you wanted to. But you could do it, and it's completely rigid. It can't bend, at least not in its current state. And it is basically set like this on one end, and then it's a full 6-foot staff all the way to where it would normally attach to the frame of a tech priest. But again, you can get in there and kind of make it grab or extend an R2-D2 style probe to interact with something.
That's awesome.
And it is chrome. So there you go. And you can see emblazoned into each of the larger portions. By the way, utility mechadendrite, if you're looking for an example of that, is this right here. These are utility mechadendrites on this lovely model here. And you know what? I actually don't feel comfortable speaking for Lindo in this case. What we'll do is we'll use him as clutch if something comes up, or we'll let him decide. I think that's the only right thing to do. So, let's just assume he made the best choice possible, whatever that might be. And is that where we're going to leave things? Are we ready to go?
Can I look
I
for a
still want
scope?
a rebreather.
Oh. You want a rebreather?
Yeah. I'm not looking to drown.
And
Really good idea.
I don't think you
Yeah.
actually... Did you pull anything, Sarah?
Yeah, I did. I got a hook shot.
That's right. Okay. So you guys you got your one-time items. Give me a go ahead and a general roll for everybody.
Okay. Don't take my roll, 72.
I got a 14.
I got a 15.
I dropped the dice.
Fired.
Yeah. Story of my life. That is a 12.
A 12.
Ooh, coming in clutch.
I rolled a 14.
14. And Doa got a 74. Okay. So with a 12, you guys are able to find functional rebreathers. Nothing magical. These are from kind of the odds and ends bits. There isn't anything there with the Kelp branding on it. But you do see there's enough rebreathers for each of you. And there's also...
I'd also like some rope.
Also
a little bit
good
of rope.
idea.
Probably about 20 feet of
And a
rope.
scope.
No
Fine with
scope, I'm
me.
sorry to say. Luckily, you're
Boo.
going to be in small, cramped quarters for the most part. No scope here.
Yeah, the rope's if we get stuck down in the tube.
And the rope isn't standard rope. I'm not sure how much a tech priest could rely on being held up by a rope. That's not a weight joke. That's just a... Oh, we have a suggestion from chat here. Flashlights. I mean...
Yes.
Yes.
I
Oh,
believe we
okay.
already all have some version of a flashlight.
You do have
I
some
think
pretty
you're right.
rudimentary flashlights. So that's not something you need to worry too much about, but you'll also see a handful of flares, probably about 2 each, and you'll see that there are 6 of those med stims I mentioned.
Gimme, greedy hands.
Nice.
And I think that's
Does
about
anyone
all
else
you're going
have
to see.
Medicaid?
I do.
Okay. I hand stims over to Baxter as well. In
Hell
case
yeah.
we die.
Did I take
What could happen? But as you're kind of shifting and moving through,
Oh, I have Medicaid as well. I did take it.
several members of the Mechanicum and another of your Arbites are standing over by one of the adjuncts that kind of has a little housing over it. There was some beautiful lace with some vines and blooming flowers that, again, this is floor 1, had kind of covered some of the more unpleasant machinery just beyond. And that's been stripped away very violently. And it is an eyesore to the otherwise beautiful area where, again, a warm breeze is coming and you can hear the raising and lowering of the torque on different ships as the harvest is starting. It's picking up and there are ships coming down for their very first shipments. You can hear distant yelling, very, very, very faint, of dock hands and loading crew as kelp is moved to each of these. And it's all pretty, something you're used to. It's home. And you also hear the rather, we'll just say, different from all of that sound of both mechanical and laser cutters ripping into the thick bronze piping that the lattice work was hiding a moment ago. The tech priests, being supervised by the Arbite, are making progress through the piping. The piping stands where it's exposed here, about 8 feet above the ground you're standing on, and is laying across the ground before it bends gradually into the corner of the great lift, disappearing out of sight as the lift is currently docked at your level. It's tucked into a corner and disappears down into the shaft.
So looking through the maps, just to clarify, is this a sloped sort of pipe situation, or were you going to have to figure something out if it just goes straight down?
Oh, it goes down very much like the map here on the screen. In fact, there are areas where it branches off, but as we get into it, we'll see how that goes. So,
Yay.
you are all ready, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Ready.
I imagine
my
that we
middle
take like
name.
food
Ready.
and all that sort of stuff as well, right?
Oh, you
Just
do?
like saying it out loud.
Oh, well, that's very
to
good
make
that you did, because that's important. I'm glad you did. So, you guys can grab some ration bars as well. How much you taking?
Backpacks full of snacks.
Mm-hmm. Maybe should we do enough for 3 days?
My first brain spark was a week's worth.
Let's do a week's worth.
This is all loading up to be quite a bit of gear you guys are taking.
As well. Who knows
What about
if
ammo?
we'll be able to get out, or who
Ammo?
we'll find down there.
You don't need to worry about ammo. You will
Okay.
have taken ammo, and we could make this the ammo nitpick role-playing session that a lot of people do. I don't like that, personally. For exotic weapons, that the ammo is extraordinarily hard to come by, like the 25 rounds that Pilar has with her needle pistol. That's something you may never see again, ever. So 25 is the number it is, and you want to tally those off. But for everything else, standard las gear, I think that it's something to hand wave away. We're just going to add it to the general weight of the weapon. So, with that in mind, you hear, a robust exclamation from the would-be Inquisitor. Yes, look. Gesturing and scurrying over. Kind of hard to imagine this huge individual scurrying, but he, almost like a child, moves over to the piping. Kind of, with the back of his hand, gesturing a priest aside. Look. Reaches over to Sarah, who's nearby. Grabs one of the flares, pops the top off, and drops it down. You can see, as the flare descends until it's a pinprick of light far below. But there are different handholds. They look to be like just metal, almost like a ladder work, that are etched into the piping that you can put your hands and feet into as you descend or ascend. These appear not to have been used in a very, very long time, although there's a very dry layer of gook on it. Enough that it looks gross, but not enough that it looks dangerous, or any more so than the descent itself. You see also that every 20 to 50 feet, or meters rather, that there are little bits of scaffolding that kind of emerge, and they seem to disappear off to the sides, perhaps to service different pipes. Here we are. Well, I have, for as long as you'll be able to use it, set up a relay tower just off site. My ship is going to be powering it, so we won't have to worry about interference from anybody who doesn't want us to be able to speak freely. I hope that you let me know if and when you find anything. How exciting. I wish I could go with you. But you'll be fine, I'm sure. Just be careful. Remember, we need to know what happened to the hive that caused the event 600 years ago. We need to know why these ports exist. We have to know why somebody or something, we need to know what happened that they would be opened at the expense of so many souls. I wish I could go. I do have to leave the system, but I will keep a ship in orbit to power this. I will return in probably a week's time for your full report. Do not debrief with anyone over what you find, should you return before I do. I'm sure you will. Best of luck. Emperor's grace upon you. Ready my ship. And he marches off.
Oh.
Cool.
And
Okie
it's up to you
dokie.
now.
Shall we go?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get all up in there.
So you guys move into the tube. Can I get a perception from each of you?
That's good, tube.
Nice. How
That
good?
is certainly a
23.
tube with handhelds.
Uh-huh. How much tube?
A lot.
96 degrees of tube.
Hell yeah, tube.
Nice. I got 90 degrees of tube.
90 tube.
I got
12.
23.
I got 12.
12
I got-
tube. Now I can work with that.
I got 8.
You got an 8? You got an 8 tube?
Nice.
Save us
Wow.
all.
So,
Woo!
let's talk about descent order. Who's going in first?
I think Landoa should.
I mean, he's got the infrared goggles.
Maybe he does.
Potentially.
Oh, well.
He rolled
potentially.
another 8.
Um,
Fantastic. So he's
all
going
right,
to be
well,
able to
I'm happy to go in
persuade
first.
all of you, unless you roll better than an 8 in Fellowship, that he's going to go last.
3.
Oh,
1.
you got a 1? This is where you get your 1? So he can go...
I got an 8.
You got an 8?
I got
No shit. Okay, Pilar,
I
how'd
like
you
how
do?
everybody. I got a 32, so I
32.
think that means that I'm gonna go probably first.
It sounds like
And
it.
Linda was second.
Well, so, and then what'd you get, D-Bag?
1.
That's what I thought you said. Where do you want to go? Or would you rather just tie a beautiful knot in and then just kind of descend on your own away from these losers? How do you want to do this?
I'll stick with the crew.
Okay.
So I rolled a 90, by
You
the
rolled
way.
a 90. Well,
Oh.
you go first. But it's fitting because your perception was the best. So the order, if I'm not mistaken, is Nigel Pilar, Roland, Sarah Debeck.
Landoa.
Yes.
Oh,
okay with that.
Lindoa is with Roland interchangeably.
Okay.
It doesn't really
Got
matter
it.
too much. But yeah. Is that right?
Yep.
Perfect. So, with the order established, Nigel's perception being the 8 tube that he discovered, he actually hears the flare bounce off of something. And
That-
that's just as well. You can't see the light anymore, but he hears that. And also, he notices that there are, because this is engraved into the pipe itself, it's not something that can break away, but there are areas where it has been slightly eroded. And as you descend, Nigel will be able to, and it's quite good that he ended up being first, he's going to be able to point these out to the rest of you, should he feel that's helpful. But it is up to him to do it. He's the one right up front, he got the best perception. It's going to be
since-
ultimately Baxter's decision.
Yeah, since I'm going to be going first, I don't want them falling on me, so I will do everything in my power to make sure they don't.
Smart.
Cool.
Very smart. So, you descend. You descend past scaffolding. As you continue down, you find that your limbs begin to start shaking. By the time you reach the halfway point, here descending through the tubing of floor 4, it's meters and meters and meters, dozens if not hundreds. It's actually dizzying. And without proper barometric measurement, you don't even know how far you've gone. You've passed unlit branches of the tubing as it moves into unseen segments of the hive. You're not really sure where you are or how long it's been. You know that your arms are quaking. The parts of you that grabbing this metal tubing, they're growing weak. The tips of your fingers are not spent, but all of your strength checks right now are taking significant hits. You can continue, you can rest, you can investigate these branches of tubing at the next moment of scaffolding. It's up to you. What is the move? Do you continue down? We're going to say that you're at this juncture right here, but you don't know exactly where you are. You'd like to keep going? Would you like to take a moment to rest? Would you like to explore some of the tubing? What's the
I
move?
think we should. I vote for take a moment to rest and explore some of the tubing.
Okay.
Agreed.
I
think it's a
agree.
good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, my hands feel like noodles. Anyone else want to just take a walk around?
There you
Yeah,
Well, I-
let's do it.
I do happen to have an extra hand.
go. Ooh.
Oh,
That's true. And if you had a bay, you could even, sell such a
Jam it
thing
in there permanently.
to any tech priests you have. It's an extraordinary piece of equipment, but
It's mine.
it's also just a staff if you want it to be. So, that being the case, you guys take a break. You are resting. You have this scaffolding here again. You're not sure if the flare should be emitting light, but you're not seeing light from where you are. You're seeing the kind of gook that's coating the inside of the tube. Doesn't have any kelp to it. It does just seem to be mud. It's somewhat slick in some places, but it's nothing like the oil from your kelp. It's just a gross film of mud. Now, you do have some scaffolding here. There are smaller, 5 foot in diameter pipes that are moving away from your location in each of the cardinal directions from your position here. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me if you would. Each of you. And Doa got a 20.
17.
17.
Jesus Christ, I got a 99. No, wait, hold on.
Ooh.
Is that a 6 or a 9? That is a 6. 96.
A 96. Okay.
54.
54.
Haha, I beat you. 53.
Very nice. And D-Beck?
17.
17. Unguts our best. So, luckily, Pilar actually sees the light of the flare. And it inspires quite amount of hope that you're nearing the end of this journey. It's right down the tube, and really it looks relatively far. And she'll be quite persuasive in communicating this to you, if she chooses to do that. As far as D-Beck is concerned, your character isn't as confident as she is. Pistol makes a very, very good point. But Gaius is really more curious about what's further down the tubes. It seems to be, judging from the direction of the smear marks as you hold your light around, you're seeing that it looks like a great deal of dirt, mud, something was moving in one direction from out of sight to this core pumping system. Just one direction. And again, just by the drag marks, that's what seems to be the case. And it's just kind of an even smear of dirt and filth. The scaffolding you're on is no exception. And it appears to be very, very permeable. So if there was sludge coming up the pipe, it wouldn't be impeded by this metal framework. So, how about it? Is Pistol going to communicate anything? Is Stebeck going to interject?
Guys, I think we're not too far away from the bottom. I can see the flare pretty clearly. I don't know if you want to keep going. It's up to you guys, but I don't think we have that much further to go.
I point out the smear marks on the wall and how fresh they look.
They're not fresh.
And they're not fresh?
No. Very, very dry. Who knows when they were made?
I point that out and
so how convincing?
Just keep going.
Down. Which direction do you want to keep going?
Wherever the smear marks are.
Well, the smear marks are just from the mud because these were the old pumps, but your characters aren't really aware of that. These are when there was slurry produced in the drilling process, when the hive was set up, there were large drilling mechanisms set up to drill into the earth, or the planet. And as that happened, water was pumped in to create a slurry, and it was extracted via this tube you're in. And that's what these drag marks are. They're the bits of sediment and rock and chunks of material that would be dislodged and pulled out. Yep, brutish pumping made the mud marks. That's right. So that's what that is, and it's something that you note. It's good to have. I imagine that Pistol is noting all of this in probably her personal notes, but you do have a book with you. One of you has. Which one of you is it that has it? Is it Sarah's character?
I believe so.
Alana has it, yeah.
Okay. I imagine you're taking notes, but it's not something anybody was instructed to do. Not really.
Well, Alana would be taking notes because everything is evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how her paper trails work.
Nice.
She's not taking them in that book. No, that stays in the bag. She has like her little notebook.
Okay. And you are noting these things. You guys are taking a break to rest. We have Pistol, who's trying to convince you guys that you're not far away. Do you stay and rest? Do you continue? What's the move?
So I'm understanding. Pistol is saying that we are not very far from the bottom, the direction that the Inquisitor tossed the flare in.
That's right.
And is it Baxter that says that there's further lines down the tube?
It is not Baxter, it's Gaius.
Okay.
Gaius, who rolled an 18, and Pistol, who rolled a 96.
Okay, so we can't see the flare.
Yeah, you guys can't see the flare. She's the only one that claims to.
I do have heightened senses in sight, so, you know.
That just made you see it even better.
It's true. And that's what I'm telling you guys, is I can see better than you. So...
Well, I just met this Pistol character, so I'm gonna like pop off a button from my uniform and kind of drop it and see if I can hear it.
Oh, sure. You do. And go ahead and give me your perception check.
I got a 7.
You got a 7? So you didn't hear it, but the 99 that Lindoa just rolled, he heard it. Oh my god, yeah, I heard it. It was the metal button right off the metal pipe. Clear as day.
Well, me and Landoa sort of have a bond, so I'm gonna believe him.
Ah. Well, okay. So Fidus, with his 99, is so assured by this that he's like, all right, guys, we're so close. Hold on, I could hear the button. I'm gonna start heading down. And he moves over to the tube and begins to descend further into the tube, the piping.
Are you sure this isn't another party situation where you and someone else is really just gonna, I don't know, make a nuisance?
I would never.
Back to the back and forth that happened at the fundraising.
Well, there was the whole well, and then of course when there was all the hubbub about the arrival of the Inquisitor out in the street, and Nigel had his glitter pump, and then there was the flashbang that ignited it and accidentally made a napalm spray gun.
I think in Petal's brain, while he does trust Pistol almost implicitly, the two people who have most consistently made his life more exciting and not to his benefit are saying, hey, go further down. He's like, no.
No, I'm good.
Well, I'm gonna follow Landoa down the tube.
Yeah, so we have Fidus, Baxter, and his pedal staying. Did you say that Pistol's going to stay or Pistol's going to go?
Pistol is happy to do whatever the majority of the group is doing, but she would definitely. I mean, I guess. Oh man, I think Pistol would definitely want to see more of the tunnel because she's definitely, like I said, she's an observer. She wants to see more of what's happening, and then, but she is pretty convinced that we're close to the bottom. So she wants to check out more of the tunnel, but is happy to continue pretty extemporaneously down the tube further.
Okay.
So she kind of wants to do both, but like
pretty torn.
Yeah, she's pretty torn. All right. I have just flipped a coin. She's gonna follow them down the tunnel.
Okay. So we currently have 3 headed back down, and D-Beck, Sarah, and Roland. How do you fare?
Alana sits at one of the tunnel entrances with her legs hanging down, and she's like, "Call up when you get there," and is making more notes in her book.
Okay. And go ahead.
I'm kind of just looking around, checking out this gun that we picked up back at the armory with the Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
Petal's gonna go behind Alana and be like, "Sick tunnel." I'm just gonna glance down this side chute that we found.
Sure. And as you do, let's get a perception check from you.
Cursory shoot glance. A 12.
Do you have any buffs to your perception for vision?
Nah, that's easy. Petal's a punchy boy.
Alrighty.
But that is still
pretty good.
degrees of success.
It's still very, very dark. It's difficult to see. You do make out, however, that there are boot prints in the mud. The kind of settled mud that makes up effectively the lining of this entire pipe everywhere you've seen so far. But there are occasionally clear boot prints.
How fresh?
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say, but there appear to be quite a few. Maybe 24 different feet.
Okay. Petal doesn't say. He immediately drops his voice. He just walks back to Alana and be like, so there's a whole bunch of footprints over there.
What?
Footprints? Prints you make with your feet. In mud.
I know what a footprint is.
Just so you know, languages.
Oh, but do they look new or is it old?
I can't tell.
Alana wants to go look at it.
Okay. So you do? And we can get a separate perception check from you
hallway.
if you like.
Yeah. 30.
A 30. And do you have any bonuses to perception?
I have awareness, I think. Yeah, I just have one thing in awareness, so I'm kind of perceptive.
What's your actual level?
It is 35.
So you do succeed, but there's not any more than 1 degree of success, really. Do you have a... Well, I guess, yeah, because, you're probably going to be up to 40, and then it's to 30. 1 degree of success. Can you tell me how you do it? What's the situation? What do you do?
I kneel down and take off my gloves and kind of gently press the mud a little bit.
Okay.
And kind of move a little further down and then gently press the mud a little bit. And then I go back to the front of the tube and push on the mud there and see if I can see my own footprints.
Give me a toughness check.
61.
Are you wearing gloves?
She was wearing gloves. She took them off to touch the mud.
took them off to touch the mud. As you kneel down and stand up, it becomes apparent to you how far you must have traveled. You're not below the hive currently, but you are approaching the point where the water is. You're actually lower on the planet than you've ever been. You feel pressure as you stand up and go down to a kneeling position. You're able to feel that there's actually more barometric pressure in the semicochlear canals of your head. That you have Medicaid training, you said, right? Yes. Okay, so you understand what that is, and you know that you're experiencing more pressure than you've ever felt in your life. You must be getting further down to the surface of the planet. And you become aware for the first time that your group, if you descend too quickly, may experience negative medical repercussions of descending into the sublevels too quickly.
Okay, and I don't know if it counts, but if it is an investigation kind of, she can use her intelligence instead of her
Let's do it.
So her intelligence is 45.
45? And let's get a check.
69.
Hey.
Nice.
So maybe not more than anything you've already just told me.
Well, not a lot more. You do notice, though, that the mud isn't wet. There's no moisture at all to it, and the boot prints that are visible here are much cleaner than the boot prints you're making. And this is not a profound observation, but these were probably made within a little closer, certainly, time frame to that as to when the mud was wet. Maybe not when it was sloppy, but it was probably a little wetter.
Okay, so some time ago then. Potentially.
Before today, certainly.
Yeah.
You don't know when these pumps were used last, and you don't know by whom.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of context.
Okay, so I'm gonna relay that
Who
to
else
Petal.
would be down here?
I don't know who else would know about these or care enough. Well, maybe the dive teams. If she did send anyone down through this piping, I suppose they could have.
But didn't you earlier say that they went down the I'm having a stroke.
Lift.
Lift?
She did say that. The problem was that she was
Cookie old
having a
bat.
little bit of trouble. She's a bit off. So it could be that she did send another, like there were other jackets there that looked a little newer, so perhaps...
Did you relay the information about potentially getting dive sickness from continuing downwards?
Well, she's telling you that while she's looking at these footprints, and now she is going to vox that shit.
Okay,
so
because
she's
Petal
gonna
was
get-
pulling out his box.
Yeah, so she's gonna get on the vox, and she's like, I would suggest everyone stop. We've apparently come quite far down. We're reaching the water line, and if you go any further down right now, your ears are not going to be able to handle it. Your sinuses are going to be very angry. So I suggest everyone stop for a moment, so we can become accustomed.
Hmm.
So I also have Medicaid training, so I'm probably gonna believe her.
Yeah. I think that's
So
a pretty
we come back
reasonable thing. Well, at least
Oh, you don't have to come back up. Just if
Oh, we
there's
just
a
have to
tube
stop.
next to you, just take a bit of a siesta.
All right. Well,
Oh.
That sounds heresy. What's siesta?
She was calling you a slur.
What? Petal?
So I have training in heresy. So should I make a check?
You can if you want to. It's going to see. I guess it's going to be. What do you look? Are you looking to see if it was a heretical slur?
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead. It's going to be a fellowship roll for this. Go ahead and give me a fellowship roll.
11.
11. You know that it was not heresy. It was some dialect of a language long forgotten. But
Okay,
there's
I'll-
no hint of heresy behind
I
it.
can't help it if I'm well read. She's
I
like
can't help it.
furiously scribbling notes in her notebook.
Ah, but Alara or Alana, don't you know? Ignorance is mandatory.
I'm only reading what's in the library.
That sounds pretty heretical. Let's do another check. I'm kidding, of course. But I think we're currently at a point where everybody seems to have halted, slowed up. You're taking a rest. You're eating, restoring your strength, your toughness. Am I missing any beats here about that?
Yeah.
No?
Nope, just hanging out.
We're aware
Yeah,
of
we're
the
just-
barometric changes as you descend into the hive. You...
Yes, if there is a tube, then perhaps those of us that are going down would stop off into it. Otherwise, we'll just sort of
Certainly.
like
That's something that you're going
tie
to be
ourselves off.
within. Really, you'll be able to reach one without any real, either up or down.
Great.
So, you are currently separated half and half. Are you going to be staying separated, regrouping?
I would like to think that if we reach another point where we can stop off and like sort of assess the how far down everything is one more time, that's what Pistol would definitely like to do, rather than just continue. She's a little bit smarter usually than just haphazardly going into wherever it is. So
Sure.
since we're going to be
perfectly reasonable.
stopping anyway.
Yeah. So you guys go to the next. It's going to be a very similar adjunct to the one that the team above you has experienced. Almost identical, really. You're looking at scaffolding. You're looking at tubes that move in the cardinal directions. Again, 5-foot diameter. And as you begin to kind of rest, you perhaps break out a little bit of your ration, maybe a protein bar, drink some water, what have you. Are you going to be doing anything in this meantime? We've heard from the group a little bit higher up. What about you guys? What kind of things are you going to be doing?
Really just taking in what's around us, and
Yeah. You want to give me a perception check?
I guess
You too,
Yes.
Baxter.
49?
49.
27.
27. So you're able to see similar features. You're seeing the mud kind of scoring the walls of the tubes as they disappear into darkness. You're seeing that there are boot prints, not as many here, but there are prints. And how long will you be staying here as a party?
Can we tell with our Medicaid about how long we'd need to pressurize?
You don't have that
Alright.
information at hand because it's not something
I
that
rolled a 24 to think about it.
24 to think about it. You're probably going to stay for half an hour to an hour to be safe.
Okay.
Is that information conveyed?
Yes.
And does everyone agree?
Yep.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So your eyes are getting used to the dark. You're all getting to see a little bit better. But you're all still suffering slight decreases in those checks. So if you're like, oh, I really feel like I could have seen more, it's because you're operating in near darkness with a flashlight. It's unknown area. It's covered in mud. Any real details are going to be obscured. So if you feel like you're being cheated with some of these rolls, it's all right. You're just getting used to the dark. But you're continuing? Is that right? You've waited the discussed hour. Anything else coming to mind? Any plans? Anyone want to bring anything up?
I ask the two people that I'm with if they want to see where these footprints go, or if we just stick with the rest of the group.
I vote footprints.
I think Petal sees that there's a lot of them, and the whole point is we're trying to figure out who's cracking open the hive. So it's like, well, there's a bunch of people down here. They're going to something. So he's gonna continue down the tunnel. That's his vote.
Okay. And you could have done that at the
Okay.
beginning of this, and we can actually do that instead of just sitting there for an hour.
Okay, Alana relays to the rest of the team that her, Petal, and is it Gaius or Gallus?
Gaius.
Gaius. So her, Petal, and Gaius are gonna check out these footprints, and we'll stay in touch.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Good luck.
So, this is at the beginning of that hour, so let's just kind of rewind back right before we talked about adjusting to the acclimation. You walk quite a bit. You walk for about 20 minutes, so a third of the time that you had decided that would be a safe, necessary amount. And as you do, let's get another perception check. Your eyes are growing a little more accustomed.
Oh, thank God, a 19.
What?
Oh,
Did I just-
no,
oh,
that's
here they are.
not the tab I want. No, that's not the tab either. Dang it. Hold on.
13.
13. Hell yeah. And for Alana, are you using intelligence or are you using your perception?
It's not an investigation at this point. Well, I guess it is, because we're investigating the footprints. I'm going to use my intelligence. It's 45.
45. Okay. So you're using the investigation. You're investigating these footprints. You're going through and you're seeing quite a bit. And we'll get to what you actually see specifically. And then
Mine was 79.
79. Not so hot. And then over to Roland. You said you got it was in the teens?
13.
13. Okay.
1-3.
And I think the greater success here was Sarah's. So
Yeah.
we're going to go with that as the general breakdown, and she can convey what she likes. So effectively, you're able to see here that these were made not in a rush. These footprints were clean up and down. There wasn't a lot of force. No one was running. No one was jogging. These were casually left. And they were done by men and women. They appear to have something with them. It's not apparent exactly what it is. It might be some kind of it's not a cart. It wouldn't be something. There's something that's leaving drag marks, but you're not sure what it is, and they aren't frantic. Whatever it is, it wasn't like a person that was being dragged against their will, but there are drag marks here that don't match the other boot patterns, and they aren't the kind of random, symmetric mud marks that you see everywhere else. This is something that had weight to it. Something that's been left in the mud. But again, you're not sure what, but something was being drug. And
Okay.
you see that there are different pieces of metal that don't match the inside of the tubing that have been perhaps fragmented. And you're looking at each of these pieces of metal, and you've seen it before. This almost looks like just kind of general waste. If somebody had a malfunctioning machine of some kind, you might see this as shards of metal that have been scraped off, or maybe just the plate of something is something was opened up and then left open as it was worked on. This is just kind of bits, ends, pieces. Nothing important enough to provide context, but metal.
Maybe it's like a repair team?
Could be.
Okay. Guess we'll keep going.
All right. And as you do, is there anything that the team a little bit lower down wants to do?
We've just sort of seen similar things, no real footprints or anything. And we're just continuing down, is that right?
That's right.
All right, Nigel.
I thought we were stopped at a landing, sort of resting.
Well, you guys
weren't
were
we?
resting here. You see,
We
guys went
were.
down to a bit of scaffolding, and there are directions that the tubes are. We are at the point they're at, so this is before you were able to descend. Excuse me, I misspoke. So it's before you were able to descend. They decided to go ahead and investigate their tube a little more while waiting.
Right.
Did you guys
and so
want to
we're
do that
just, do you want to investigate the tube? Or do you want to keep going down?
I don't know what I would do. Might as well investigate, see if we can see.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they're doing up there.
If we have to spend an hour sort of acclimating to the level, then we'll walk around and take a look.
All right. So you pick a direction. It's not really going to matter too much, but you do. And there you go. You're walking along. Let's get some perception checks from you guys.
I got another 8.
Another 8.
I got a 62, so thank God.
So we got a 45 from Lindoa. So the crew continues on, and you're able to see as you go that the same boot prints are actually moving 2 directions. It isn't just one singular way. There are people who were going toward the main pipe, people going back, and Baxter actually notices something that nobody seems to have seen so far. The boot prints weren't made at the same time. These were boot prints made a while ago, but these weren't made at the same time. They weren't made by the same people, all of them. There were quite a few, but there seemed to be at least 2 different times that these prints were laid in.
Would I be able to tell about how many different sets there are? Like how many people they would belong to?
You know that there are more than 10.
All right, I'm going to let everyone know. There's more than 10 sets of footprints.
All right. And you're letting both teams know, and you both traveled about 20 minutes down each of your pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And are you continuing? Are you going back?
I think I'd continue on.
Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah. Well, you guys do. And 20 more minutes of just walking, you arrive at a juncture. This seems to be splitting the pipe up into equal parts. There are 3 of them, so it's one direction, straight forward, and another direction. And you see the footprints dividing, not as many into each of the tubes, but there are clear indications that people have moved forward, backward through each of the tubes. And can I get a perception check from you guys here, please?
28.
From me and Nigel, or from
That's
the
right.
other group? Okay.
Oh.
26.
26.
Uh,
Lindoa,
58.
58. Lindoa rolls a 7. So
Great.
Lindoa sees quite clearly that there is toward the right a light. It appears to be a red light, and it doesn't appear to be constant. It's not rhythmic. It might be fire or a malfunctioning light of some kind. He doesn't have an opinion as to whether or not you should pursue it, but he does see it.
I'm sure he would have an opinion.
I would like to
I can't tell
pursue
him
it
what it is.
personally.
You do want to go?
Yeah, if he relays that to us, then I would like to go. Yes.
Alrighty, he does indeed.
I'll be
And
following.
I will relay that over the Vox to our team up above.
Alrighty.
Ilana cautions to not get lost.
I have a small piece of chalk, and I, on the wall, make an X on the place where we came from, and then on the corner where we turned, an X on that same corner.
Okay. And you continue. You make your way toward the light, I imagine. Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
And as you do, you notice that it's a pattern that you learned in your Arbites training. This is actually the Morse code in a red indicator light that seems to have been rewired for SOS. And you can see that there's a maintenance hatch, that it's an access panel that appears to have been wrenched open violently by something and then shut very, very quickly. And on the other side of the maintenance hatch with the indicator light, that's where you're seeing the SOS symbol.
I relay that to our friends up above.
Okay.
Yep, somebody died.
And let's talk about what you see here. Let's get a perception check from you. And a tech use could also be used in this case to investigate instead, if you like.
So sorry, say that again. Things are happening.
Go ahead and
over
use
here.
a perception or a tech use to check out what you see here.
Perception.
Nigel?
Tech use is intelligence, right?
That's right.
Okay, I got a 30.
30? So a 30?
Yeah.
And what is your
Go ahead.
tech?
Minus 38.
Oh, okay. So it's a success. And then what do we get for pistol?
I rolled a 63, and my perception is 31, but I don't have. Well, I mean, I suppose we all have tech use. Is that right? Did you say that? Before?
You don't receive a.
You don't take a negative.
Yeah, there's no negative to it.
Okay, then yeah, I don't
All right.
have anything to add to it. Yeah.
Well, Nigel here is pretty confident because the 55 the Lindoa rolled isn't enough to really do a lot. But you're pretty confident, Baxter is, that he can actually wedge this open using basically a quick command here on the interface to open the hatch. It doesn't appear whoever was trying to open it last time was aware of this feature, or maybe it wasn't accessible at the time. Could be that it wouldn't respond to the override. But you are able to input that command if you'd like to open this kind of maintenance hatch.
Well, I think I can open this. Do you think I
Go for it.
should? Okay.
Yeah, and I actually ready my my weapon and like stand off to the side. Not my needle pistol, but my regular pistol.
Seeing that, I'm gonna sort of like maneuver Londoa to stand in front of me.
Sounds good. He's ready to take it on. Whatever's in there. And there is, it's about, again, the tube, some of you are hunched, but the tube is it's about 5 feet in diameter. So you're kind of hunched into here, and this maintenance hatch is kind of it's fitted into the wall, but it's about the same width as about a person's shoulders, and it extends up and down that full 5 feet off to the side here. So as you open it, it's going to swing out like a door, revealing whatever's on the other side. Lindoa is right up front with his weapon readied as well. We have 2 weapons readied at this hatch, and Baxter's about to input the override to open it. Again, not much to do. You're all suffering a perception loss because of the very, we'll say, abrasive, because of how dark everything is, except for this flashing SOS light right above you. And it's bathing everything around you in that red, short, long pattern. Go ahead and input the command if you'd like to.
So before I do that, I'm gonna, radio our other team. Guys, I found a door. I'm gonna open it.
Wow.
Yes, it's the same maintenance hatch that is flashing SOS where we're opening it. So.
Okay, context, amazing. Got it.
Yes.
We're just like, okay, be careful.
Okay, I open it.
Okay, you do. And as you do, let's go ahead and roll a perception check.
Yes. I would imagine also, just because I haven't said so, but I imagine that we have flashlights lit at some point.
But again, the light is overwhelming. This is a very, very bright light. Yep.
Cool.
So perception check.
41.
21. Lindo, I got a 15.
I got a 13.
Ooh, nice. Well, you very quickly analyze the swinging door as it opens up, revealing several panels with what looked to be the bones of probably a small family. Not much is left to them. It could be hundreds of years old. They kind of fall out. There don't appear to be much in the way of belongings. It looks like there might have been some kind of a toy. It's hard to say. You count 4 different hip bones. The rest is a little uneasy. Bones aside, you can see several different gauges. You can see that this was used to measure the pressures within the several pipes that run along in parallel to the one you're standing in. And it had been used recently, at least as recent as these bones, to try and communicate an SOS. Whoever had been in here had just enough tech use. They'd been able to get into the wiring for the light, set up a repeating pattern on the light for SOS.
Interesting. Can we immediately see any reason for their death? Like, claw marks or scorch marks or anything like that?
Not get it back open?
Well...
Yeah, also a good question.
Or they were waiting for help and then just died in there.
Yeah.
It's not anything you can tell.
Okay.
But
okay.
They don't seem to have much there. So, you have discovered this family, and we're going to take it back to the folks a little higher up. And as you continue to walk your 20 minutes, you also encounter an exact replica of the same 3 pipes that the team a little below you discovered in their journey. There is a perception check here. Go ahead.
There is a perception check here. Oh, come on!
Oh, excuse me.
11.
Oh, I thought I was doing well. 26.
That's not bad.
It's not an 11.
Huh.
Yeah, it's also not a 92. Thanks, Alana.
You got 92?
Yep.
Well, a little bit startled by the news of the team a little bit further down, Alana is certain that she sees something in the dark over to the right, matching the information she heard from the first team. And knowing what you now, well, you wouldn't know it just yet, but because these are happening at the same time, you're arriving at the same junctures, you're communicating back and forth, you're also pretty sure, Alana, the other two don't see it, but you're very sure that you see something. You're not quite sure what. It's not a light. Maybe it's a light. The more you squint, the less you're sure. But you're sure it's something down that right juncture.
Okay, I draw my firearm and hold it in that way that police people do with my flashlight and advance. Advancely.
Okay. Do the other two in your immediate party decide to continue as well?
Yes.
Same direction?
What is it? What happened? What did I miss?
Yeah, Petal's gonna follow.
He's asking what's going on. Does Alana have an answer?
Alana just goes, "There's something there."
What is it?
She's like, "Shh," and creeps along the hallway.
And as you continue, you find at the same time the lower party is relaying to you that they found a hatch, a door of some kind. You see a door inactive. There are tiny little screens, very, very small little interfaces that you would recognize as just an interface for opening the maintenance hatch. Immediately on that panel on your right, but there's no light like the one described by the lower team.
Oh. I holster my gun. Let's take a look at it. Can I roll a better anything?
This is going to be
88.
an 88? Dear Lord, I don't even want to roll from the tech priest. Please just open it up if you want to. A tech priest is not going to think about it.
I don't think we have.
Well,
Do we have a
We
tech
don't
priest?
have any.
Okay. Because I know that in the past we did. Did we have two in the past?
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
Cece's the
We have
only
two
tech
at-
priest. Yeah.
Oh,
We-
okay. I
we
thought we
just
had
have
one in
CC.
each. Excuse
We
me.
only have one.
Oh, that was
Cece's
only
the
one.
tech priest. Petal is scum.
Oh, I thought we had two in the past. Oh, excuse me.
Nope.
No, okay. Well, never mind then. So if you don't have one, then but who has tech training here? Anybody other than the rudimentary that you get as an arbiter?
No. Oh wait, I think. Hold on.
You know
I
what's
can't say no
stupid
'cause
is
I'm
I think
scum.
Alana has it. No, she just has regular. Never mind.
No, I have it. Hold on.
Okay,
Let me
great.
poke a screen. I poke a screen and get a 2.
Okay, so you poke the hell
You
out of it.
wasted roll.
In
Glad
Wait,
somebody's
fact,
doing well.
in fact,
Wasted.
you almost wave your hand over it and it opens up. You don't even get muddy. It's amazing. As it opens, you see pressure gauges. You see that the wiring hasn't been diverted from anything, and so that you can actually see the pressure gauges here. You actually have readouts, whereas the one beneath, not really functioning very well because it's diverted power for so long. New pathways have been formed and other ones have been kind of shut down in the lower pipes, but this one doesn't have that light being used for who knows how long. You have readouts. In fact, you can see that there is a zero pressure differential from standard in the pipe that you're in, and there are green levels of pressure for the heated system. The hot water pipes built for that sort of durability, pumping up into the hive, and the cold water pipes pumping down from the hive are all functioning in normal levels. And there are areas here to actually modify that if you need to. There are locks that you can put in place should you need to, or in this case want to, it's your decision. Change those pressure levels. You can shut off or open different pressure areas.
Petal's just like poking at the screen, scrolling through, and it's like, yeah, and if I wanted this to be my villain origin story, I could totally just like shut off a pipe. It's right here. Look.
You could. You really could.
Alana carefully writes villain origin story.
And this is in...
And then does some sketches of the pipes.
And do you have the...
barometric pressures.
And this is in a different book than the other one?
Yeah, I'm not writing it in the book I'm not supposed to be able to read. I'm writing it in my own little, like, breast pocket notebook. It's like one of those little, like, spiral-bound flippy things.
Okay. Are you using that book at all? Is that just something you have?
That book is something that I have. She hasn't really thought to take it out to look at it because she's tried twice now to try to read it and she can't.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. I just didn't know if you were, like, gonna rub dirt on it or leave it in the hatch and close it and make an SOS symbol. I don't know. It's up to you what you do.
No, she's holding on to it for now because it's evidence.
You mentioned books. That's the only reason I bring it up. So,
nah, she's just got her little notebook.
Perfectly fine. So, you are doing this. You can see the pressure gauges. Did I hear either D-Beck or Roland wanted to do anything here?
Nope.
Nah,
I'm just kind of staring off in the distance.
Okay.
Are there Xeno?
Can I look at the mud real quick to see if the footprints that we were following with the cargo went this way?
Sure.
75. These guys suck.
You're not sure. It's really not easy to tell.
I guess we can go back to the intersection and look there.
I would like to go back to the intersection, and because I am a scrounger who scrounges things, find the path that is least traveled.
Okay. And
that's where you find the shit.
We're going to say that that's something that, given the time that you have here, because there's not like a time limit, not really, you can take the time you need. You guys are communicating everything back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So did you want me to shut down a pipe or increase your pressure, maybe? Kind of pop your head like a tin can? Maybe.
I know where the
about
glitter
no?
is.
Right, the glitter will pop too. So you'll, 1, be dead, and 2, doused in glitter. How exciting!
That's exactly how I'd like to go.
Oh,
We will keep that in mind.
Well, okay. So you do make it back to the intersection. You find the road less traveled, so to speak. It is the left road. So you had a juncture to your right, you had a juncture to the left, you had a juncture straight forward. It was the juncture toward the left. It was the one least traveled.
relays his thought process of like,
Yeah, so that's the way that the people who... That's the least traveled path. Maybe there's stuff down that way because not everybody looks. Or, you know, maybe there's stuff down the other way because there's more people. But I just figured you'd find the cooler stuff in the way the people weren't going.
I suppose it's worth a look. This time, since Alana's not rolling a 90 goddamn 6, she goes ahead and does the same thing that Tsuri did and marks the piping so we don't get lost.
Yeah.
Pistol. Yes.
Pistol, yeah.
Yes, sorry.
So you mark the piping, and you continue down the left path where there is a least.
Yes.
Okay. So, as you go, you find that there are... Well, I guess I should ask, how long are you willing to walk in one direction?
I guess we should I mean, shall we say, you guys should come and join us unless you find something else in like another hour's time?
Yeah, because we still haven't gotten to the bottom yet. We're kind of like waiting for our.
You haven't
No,
even
and I
gotten
think
all the way through floor 4 yet. You aren't
Yeah,
below
and
the
I
hive
think
yet.
we should. I think we shouldn't go too much further without you guys. I think we should go as a whole, to continue to descend.
Someone is willing to check it out for 20 more minutes and then turn around so we can actually go underneath floor.
Yeah,
where the flare is.
When we ran to the hour like determination thought, my thought was like walk 30 minutes, turn around the other 30 minutes, meet up and go down. But
Fine, yeah.
We're at 40 minutes now.
we're at 40 minutes now. So if we were going to turn around, in my brain it would be now. But if anybody else wants to keep going down tubes,
No, that sounds good too, Alana.
And I mean, we have an unlimited amount of time once again. We can get to the bottom and we can come back up and investigate more things.
I think it's good info to have, knowing that there's some way to like control the pipes or control the pressure levels. So if we find ourselves in a position where we run into more panels, you now have the info of like if shit goes down or if the pressure's too much, you can fix it. But that's a good thing, I think, for Petal. He's like, cool, found that, turning around now.
All right. So you guys are going back the way you came?
Yep.
Okay. And is this the same decision that the lower team is going on?
Essentially, we're not going to continue down lower without our compatriots,
Sure.
but we will.
Gonna meet up.
Well, I guess that means that we have a little bit of extra time to explore.
Sure.
So we've reached this maintenance hatch, and we opened it up. We found some bones. Do we leave the bones where they are, or do we take them with us, or do we, lay them out? Like
It's up to you.
what do you think, Nigel?
Would I be able to tell how old they are?
You have
Crack
Medicaid
'em
training?
open.
I do.
You know that one of the hip bones is 90 degrees and large. One of the hip bones has a pubic degree of 120, and there are 2 more 90-degree pubic bones. This indicates that there was one adult woman, what looks to be like 2 children of indeterminate sex or age, and an adult man.
Okay, that's I kind of meant like how long they've sort of been here.
Oh, how long they'd been there.
but that's cool information too, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of funny how they can mean 2 different things in the same words. Forgive me. No, you cannot tell. You don't have carbon dating equipment here, but you know that there is no moisture whatsoever in the bones. They're old.
Okay.
There's no marrow, so if you were looking to do a stew of some kind, you got to look elsewhere.
No,
I'd like to touch the bones and see if they're like especially brittle or if they're just like bony bone.
Sure, roll willpower.
That's a 41.
41. You touch the bones. And you let out a shriek. Because the bones that you touched don't sit comfortably with you. In fact, for a moment, and you probably made it up, it's probably just your nerves getting to you. But for just a moment, you felt the fear of a little girl. You felt the cloth of her mother's clothes clenched tightly into her fist. But it was gone as soon as it came. And you're probably a little embarrassed for the outcry.
I don't know what came over me. Sorry about that.
No, it's quite all right. I have another pair of underpants.
I'd hope so, considering we're down here potentially a week.
The bone was quite brittle.
The bone was quite brittle. Okay, then we are going to leave the bones where they are. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and close the door back up.
I'm gonna
And
make a.
you should note that pistol adds 2 points of corruption.
Okay. Cool. And then I suppose we should continue back.
Continuing
I concur.
back?
Yes. Oh,
All right.
so does this branch of like tunnel branch end with the maintenance hatch that we found, or is it like part way along
It's
the
just part way
tunnel
along.
and then it continues?
It
Okay.
continues into the dark.
Okay. I'll just like walk a few more feet and see if I see anything that's like jumps out.
Sure.
As
So
like,
you're-
you know,
Able to
Something rushing past.
continue. Yeah. So there is a. It just keeps going. There are footprints here, but again, not like a lot. It's a couple. There is it looks like the door rolls 85. Go ahead and walk as long as you want to, and at the point, I would say 10 minutes past where you are. If you're still walking, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
I will walk for 10 minutes and then that will be the point. I would like to check it out and then potentially just turn around and go back at that point, because I imagine our companions will be heading back to join us, and
Sure.
I would like to go meet them. The perception is, wow, a 13.
13. Wow. Okay, so that's pretty great. You can see. Well, let's go ahead and say what Nigel sees. Nigel, what you got?
42.
42. Lindoa rolls an 85, so it's nothing that's going to help or hurt, really. But the 13 is enough that you guys can see pretty well. In fact, there appears to be some kind of a light, and you're not really sure exactly what it is. It's got a green hue to it, but there's some kind of a light, very, very faint, just beyond probably another 50 meters. But in the absolute darkness that surrounds it, you can see it.
Okay. How far did you say? Do you
About
think?
50 meters.
50 meters? Okay. I'd like to walk that 50 meters and investigate.
Okay. Nigel, you're pursuing, I imagine?
Yeah, I'm gonna have my
Green
my
light.
grabby hand staff and ready just in case.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm also communicating what we're doing to the other team over the Vox, just to make sure that they know where we are and that we haven't like disappeared into nothing.
All right.
Just in case we do disappear into nothing.
Sure.
Oh, I was expecting you to disappear into nothing.
Sorry to disappoint.
Well, as you continue, you see the light growing slightly more visible and a little bit more recognizable. It actually appears to be a data pad being seen from a great distance. The light's still on from who knows when. It's dim, but it's potentially a week old, potentially 1,000 years old. The batteries on these things don't really go out. It's 40k magic. So you continue. And you are approaching the data pad. Is that what I'm to understand?
Yeah.
Going all the
I'll
way, or are you
approach
just
the data-
going till you can see what it is?
I'd like to. I mean, if it's got a readout of some kind, after what we just encountered, then I think that is worth investigating. So I communicate to our friends over the Vox, and then continue to check it out, please.
Okay. So, I should note, you haven't walked up onto the datapad. In fact, you're only able to know what it is because you've experienced looking for a datapad in your quarters, and you know what it looks like in the dark. In fact, as you get near to it, you find that even the slightest shift side to side, and it obscures your vision. As you continue toward the datapad, as you get closer and closer, and your lights begin to illuminate what's in front of you, let's get one more perception check as you approach what seems to be obscuring the datapad right up next to it.
Fuck. A 79.
79, Nigel?
Yeah.
65.
65. And Lindoa
How
rolls a
did
9.
Lindoa do? Great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be a hard check because what you see is a large grate. In fact, it appears to be a steel or some metallic structure here in the middle of this pumping mechanism that is supposed to keep some of the larger chunks from getting through directly. You also see that there are furnaces up, down, and to the right. There are fire hazard symbols near each of them, and they're potentially plasma. It's hard to say. There's some kind of jet here that could be used to clear blockage, but this appears to be a grate acting as a filter for pumped material going through. The data pad is resting, unable to continue through, against this metal grate, and pulled tight, smashed under incredible pressure, with arms and joints rammed and squeezed through at horrible contorted angles, appear to be many skeletons with their various limbs and skulls pressed against this grate, kind of held in place by mud and general grossness that was probably present at the time they died. The data pad is available for, I guess, pick up if you want.
Sure. If I can reach it, then I will pick it up.
Sure. You do. And what do you want to do, Nigel?
I'm gonna watch her pick it up.
Sure. Okay. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to do, like if you wanted to investigate anything, if you wanted to do anything. Lindoa rolls a 91 for just generally looking around. It's nothing that's going to be pointing you guys in the wrong direction. We don't want to do that. But it doesn't really help. It doesn't really do anything.
Well, I'm gonna offer my services as a scholar. I can read. I'm not sure if you can.
I can read.
You're both Arbites.
Both Arbites on the first tier, like on the first level.
Yeah.
Like
First, you mean top tier?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh boy.
Pistol doesn't have a lot of patience.
Sure.
No
Just
PTSD
FYI.
flashbacks from saying top tier before.
Okay. So, you do have this data pad. And are you going to, the two of you going to investigate into it? It's imagine an iPad with no lock.
Yeah, we're gonna investigate as much as we can in our, non-tech priest kind of way.
Okay.
I still have my weapon ready in case it's a trap.
Sure.
Great, perfect.
Well, and luckily, no trap is discerned from either of you. It doesn't seem to be an IED of some kind. This is a pretty standard data pad, thankfully. You see, though, that the it was used for just general purposes. You can see a record of login, and it was quite some time ago. Just under 600 years ago, actually, the last entry was made. In fact,
Wow.
it seems as though the owner of this datapad was somebody who had survived the flooding, and her family and several other families were trying to find a way back to the unflooded parts because the sublevel was so dangerous. They needed a way back to the hive, back to their home. And they were one of the groups that was trying to find a way back. The lifts weren't working because they were shut down at floor 4. They were trying to find a way back, and this was about 2 months after the initial incident that caused the flooding on floor 4.
Okay.
There aren't a lot of notes. It's just kind of what they're going to try the next day. And it seems as though they were trying a branch here, and there's no entry that explains exactly what happened.
Okay. We go back then, as far like I take it with us and we go back. And I would like to, if at all possible, if I have any way of like indicating how far we've come down this particular tunnel, like, you know, I mean, I guess I could by time, like 10 minutes to travel down the tunnel. I'm going to record that as well, just so that way we have a more detailed, like exactly where in the tunnel this occurred and blah, 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 that sort of thing as we walk back.
Well, all right. So you make note of distance with relation to general walking speed and time, and you arrive at the central duct, the one we're kind of looking at here, and you await your compatriots, which, given the short amount of time that you took on your detour, they didn't. You arrive pretty much the same time they do. You're together as a group. And the open maw of the much larger tube awaits your well-adjusted ears now. And that's where we're going to end today's session. So, I know it's 4:30. Again, we try to have it 3:30, so I appreciate everybody being okay with going over today a little bit. But we're going to go back to the studio for our live folks as we kind of wind up to say goodbye to the live session. And yeah, I am really, really glad that we're kind of getting into the meat of this one. It's going to be a little longer than the 10 sessions that I had hoped for initially. I hope that's also okay. We talked about that last time, and people said there didn't seem to be a huge objection to that, so I'm glad for that flexibility as well. I hope everyone's enjoying it, and if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for coming along, and we'll see you in the next one. So from myself and everybody who played today, thanks, and, well, toodles.